Brian Giaime, for those of you who don't know him, I think everyone here actually has seen this dude before.
Yeah, you guys might remember me from my Moonrise days.
Yeah, so he's, oh yeah, so we had a meeting right before this, and it ended, and we came in here. We tried to get it done as fast as we could.
We were too busy making video games for you guys. I'm sorry.
Exactly. So today it is Prison Architect Day, and Brian has been playing the crap out of this game, and so he's, oh crap, I've got the wrong thing set up there. And Brian's gone, and everything's just terrible. Okay, there he is. I think this will work.
Oh, I love that sentence. I never ever regretted saying anything after I think this will work.
So one weird thing about Prison Architect, it just starts you with a sandbox game beginning. Just right at the outset. I guess bizarre.
Yeah, the first thing to know about Prison Architect is it proudly earns its indie as expletive moniker, but it does a really good job within the world of being like surprisingly indie. I really like this game because it's a really good balance between a simulation and an actual game. Mostly when you create a new prison, which we're about to do, you really get to pick how much effort you're going to have to exert to not get completely screwed.
Oh, we can choose prisoner gender.
You can.
Are we gonna do the one with the cribs and the?
I actually had my most recent one was a women's prison where you sometimes have to have family cells with cribs in them, or you could do with a men's prison where there's probably more murder, but less smuggling. I guess like the game doesn't really tell you what's different.
Can you reduce crib uses by denying conjugal visits?
Conjugal visits are not a mechanic at this time.
They're not what?
No.
What kind of prison game is this?
Women show up with babies or don't. That's how babies happen in Prison Architect.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So wait,
and if you go max security, the odds of baby are lower.
If you don't make a family cell and a baby shows up, where does the baby live?
The woman is stuck in a holding cell and she gets super unhappy super fast.
Oh,
and she's just carrying her baby forever.
This is so sad. I'm already so sad. It's like...
There's a lot of sad realities in this game.
Not quite that Dragon Cancer level sad, but that is really sad.
It does a great job of saying, here's a simulation of some stuff, and you think about the game you played, and then you're like, that was dark.
Yeah. So we got Andy Collins visiting here too. We were just talking about the dark nature of this game because you have to. This is Prison Architect.
Oh god.
And you have to build. If you're building a women's prison, you have to make cells with cribs in them for when the women show up with their babies.
So obviously we're going to do this now because we've talked about it way too much.
Yes.
Yeah, I admit I have some moral qualms about this because I have serious issues with the American prison industry.
So the game is supposed to make you think about those things because it's going to put you in the hands of the people. You get to be your enemy.
You basically get to watch how the system incentivizes you to do terrible things.
Yeah.
Yes, precisely so.
Because that's the issue with things. I mean, I don't think problems like the prison system, they don't come from individuals. I mean, they do to some degree, but the biggest problem isn't individuals saying, "I'm going to go be evil today." It's a system that incentivizes people to do the worst things because they feel like, "Oh, that's the right thing to do in my situation." And this game starts making you feel that way. Like, well, I can prevent people from escaping if I'm really horrific to them all the time.
Well, you can spend money to keep people in line in one of two ways. You either make really nice cells where they're all really happy all the time, or there's guys with shotguns and guard dogs patrolling them, and there are sniper towers and tall fences.
And they're tossing their cells every night.
Sometimes both.
Like,
you gotta strike a balance.
It's possible to do this tastefully, I will admit. But
so the trick is the game sort of leaves it up to you if you're going to be gross or if you're going to be a reasonable human being, or in all likelihood, some shade of gray in between. As Drac is saying, it's not a public service. It's privately owned. It's a business.
So and I think this was made by Brits, right? Like
I'm not sure. Actually, Taylor might know. Apparently, he got to meet the developers of this game. He says in London, so I think you're right.
They're probably English because why would anyone else go to London? Sorry,
I want to go.
I actually do too. I've been promising my wife would go
to bring
someday.
these mechanics directly back to the conversation. The first choice you make is who is your warden. You can make the generic warden with nothing special.
So when I played this in very early access, this didn't exist.
No, this guy. So what I love about this, or another thing I love about this game, is that the developers have basically been adding features every 2 to 4 weeks for like a year now, and some of them are like major and interesting features, none of which have sort of, oh, game's done, they screwed it up. Like, no, they've just been doing a good job of expanding the verisimilitude and variety of things you can simulate.
Wow.
You could choose to have your prison run by a lobbyist.
Is your prison public or privately owned?
It's all privately owned, but you get government grants, and government grants are literally a mechanic for how you raise funds. Oh, it's gonna be so... We're gonna get our hands really dirty. We're gonna put them right in the mud.
And Andy's gonna be just shuddering the entire time.
I know more about the corrections industry than I should because my dad is a correctional lawyer, so he
fascinating.
His specialty is teaching wardens how to do their job.
You get to hire a lawyer in this, and the role of the lawyer in this, I was actually about to say, the role of the lawyer in this game is to break the rules for you.
That's not what
One of the first things you can research is unlimited smallness of cells, so that there's no sense of human decency required for how big a cell has to be. Anyway, so we should pick
a lawyer.
So
not all lawyers are
I want to hear how Andy feels about these choices. There's the generic warden, who's not interesting, so obviously we're not going to pick it. There's the lobbyist, who, quote-unquote, has friends in high places and makes sure the more easily controlled prisoners end up coming his way. Have the likelihood of receiving prisoners who are violent, lethal, volatile, deadly, or fighters. You have Rita, who has a reputation
Which completely ignores, by the way, completely ignores the reality that means those prisoners go someplace else.
Yep, somebody else is specifically getting the more violent people.
Not in my backyard.
Right.
Also, check out the design of the character for the lobbyist, with his like old school British nobility beard and like what looked like some medals on his like 3-layer vest setup.
Chronotosis and that fact you just observed both confirm that these are English game developers.
Yeah, I mean, that is not what a lobbyist looks like to any American ever.
Yeah. No, well, not since the 1800s.
This is probably more what Americans think of when they think of lobbyists.
Their solicitors wear wigs, and so, you know.
Oh, sure. I mean, I don't think that's that wig, but...
No, I'm just saying.
Anyway, so Rita's fun.
It's old school.
Has a reputation for running her facilities through judicial application of fear. Rumors for carrying a whip may be exaggerated. Have the likelihood of prisoners being stoic or fearless, and prisoners are suppressed twice as quickly.
So
she's basically like
beats everyone to submission.
Yes.
Okay.
It's weird that she's named and the lobbyist isn't. But I guess the other guys are named too.
Some of them are. J.W. Periwinkle.
He's a Jehovah's Witness?
I don't know if they have
Probably not.
He says he was a sapper in the war, but he never says which war. With him, guard dogs have a 50% higher chance of fully uncovering tunnels.
He's just really good at finding escapees.
Prisoners tunneling out is actually a surprisingly huge thing, because I've had like a quarter of my prison barrel out of there.
Works in prison movies.
The prisoner AI is surprisingly good at finding a way out through underground. Like
they're
pretty smart.
Get past you. We have the pacifier, who looks a little too scary in a bad way. Unusual talent for being able to calm even the most violent individuals. Reduces the overall temperature of the prison. So this is the like somewhere between MK Ultra guy and super psychologist who keeps everybody from going yeah, Drac, they might be talking about Nam when they're talking about a sapper in the war. I don't know that we have people called sappers these days. I guess just Army Corps of Engineers, but I guess we'll see.
Okay.
So I think this is my favorite. Safara Aknova, which I guess is what a person in Britain thinks a person in Russia sounds like, has a spotless reputation and a squeaky clean record, but she sells all the contraband she takes. So every time you find crap in people's beds, every shiv, every shotgun, every cigarette,
it's all money?
She turns into money. She sells all of it under the hood, so she just gets extra income.
Wow, that's great. Temisk, you made it! You didn't show up at 1 o'clock. And we were actually a little bit late this time, so you're going to get a little more show than usual, so good to see you.
Andy, which of these makes you the most uncomfortable?
Click through them again real quick.
So we have...
we should get into the actual game pretty soon.
Yeah, so ignoring the generic warden, too boring.
Oh, it's a lobbyist. It's definitely a lobbyist.
Okay.
Lobbyist.
So then, Jeffrey, do we want forests?
Lakes? You want to have to build around a lake?
It'll make things harder for us.
Let's make everything harder.
Do you want derelict buildings? Oh, you want everything. So failure conditions are on, gangs on, events on.
Except unlimited funds. Let's not do that.
Oh yeah, that would make things a little bit too easy.
Yeah, small prison is good though, right?
Yep, for now. Yeah, let's do the lady prison just to see what that's like.
Okay, so there's already derelict buildings, so you can use those in your prison?
You can either choose to knock them down, which costs money, or use them, which might be useful.
It's interesting. I really like games where it sort of gives me something to start with, and part of my it's not just like blank slate creativity. Right. It's like I get to actually sort of decide. Like, I feel clever when I use something that already exists.
You're responding to it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So just give you guys a quick walkthrough of what you're looking at on screen. The to-do list is exactly what you think it is. It's stuff you should either actively do right now or concerns that you need to have about what's going on in your prison. It gives you the read the CTO's letter, which is basically the I clicked sandbox instead of career, and I may never have played this game before. And so it's giving you the little super indie game tutorial page where he literally tells you, build this, build this, build this, build this. We're going to need a warden so we can hire other staff. You do have to sort of hire yourself. Indie game. It says individual jail cells are very expensive. Early on, just have a big holding cell so you can fit everybody cheaply, because your budget might not give you the money to build enough cells for people. It says you want a kitchen and canteen up and running before the first prisoners show up so they can eat, so they don't, try and murder you instead. And it says, building a prison is an expensive undertaking, and you need to become a master of raising large volumes of money through grants and contracts. I'm waiting for Andy to vomit. You can access these grants through the report screen. That's about everything.
Cool. All right.
So that's the prisoner's thing. So
I'm not saying it's inaccurate.
It's just uncomfortable.
Just
Welcome to Prison Architect. It's accurate and uncomfortable. So I have 8 prisoners that will be arriving before 8 a.m., 2 minimum security and 2 normal security. And sadly, no, Drac, you can't hire yourself for unlimited money. You won't want to. Money is important in this game.
Yeah, you care more about the project than your own personal life. You're like Ebenezer Scrooge, making tons of money at the office and going home to, like, you know, some very thin broth and no fire in the fireplace.
Yeah, all the walls are gray, no windows. So you actually get to choose in sandbox mode what your prison intake will be. So you get complete control over, am I max security, am I medium, am I min security? Later on you can choose to take in death row inmates when you've unlocked the legal requirements to take in people who could be murdered for money. Funny how well that works. And here's a really interesting page. Here are all the grants we can do.
So you have to qualify for them and then
Correct. You qualify for them, and when you click accept the grant, you will sometimes get an advance payment. You will always get a completion bonus, and they all have different requirements. Grants are the basic reason why you can ever afford to expand your prison. The income from taking in prisoners is never enough to expand, unless you're at all max security.
Is taking a grant essentially a promise to build something?
Yes, and if you go back on it, you actually have to pay a fine.
Got it, got it.
So, and you can only take 2 grants at a time unless your accountant raises the limit of grants, because that's the power of accounting. Yeah, Lycobot is already excited. This is a kind of game where for some of you out there, and I'm guessing some of our folks in the audience are this kind of person, you've already seen enough bits and pieces moving around where you're like, I want to play this. That was me like an hour after I saw.
Look, if we are slow, by the way, to get into the full-on prison, Brian's actually got a saved game on here that he's going to show us one of his elaborate
We're going to
prisons.
like leapfrog 30 hours of progress in at, let's call 12:45?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So that gives us just over 20 minutes. So first I'm going to accept the Basic Detention Center grant, or, oh, I guess it starts you off with that grant, because that's, here's the things you need for your prison to work. So this is actually a good system for tutorializing stuff.
Yeah.
It's basically saying, to get your first pile of money, build the stuff you need to not die. And we'll do that, and we can do it the Administration Center, which basically says, hire a warden and an accountant. Some other options are, have a medical ward at all, with a psychologist, or have a staff room at all, and 5 guards. This is actually generally pretty easy. You want a staff room or your guards are less effective and all being simulated. For now,
there's a lot being simulated in this game.
So here's an idea. We're gonna do this really fast. Chat. Do we want the warden first, the health ward first, or a staff room and guards first? We'll give this like 10 seconds for you guys to hear what I just said, and I'll hit a button shortly after. And if nobody makes any decisions, I'll just shotgun it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have set my account to do sort of the reducing the delay.
Vote for staff room. Okay. 2 votes for staff room.
They want guards.
So far, we have 100% of the vote towards staff room.
They're looking for. They want Shawshank with the Kurgan. They want him to be.
We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Okay, we're doing the staff room. So I will have 5 guards and a staff room, and that will get me 10 grand in grant money when it's done. So okay, there is that. So let's close this out. Right now, all I have are workmen. Now I get to just make walls and rooms wherever the hell I feel like, to whatever purpose I feel like. You'll notice a couple things already on the map. I'll zoom in here. You have your deliveries area where trucks will show up with stuff that you need. And
is a prisoner
actually, Taylor, you can have a prison here without guard abuse. It really depends on what kind of prison you want to run and what kind of prisoners you're taking in. We have deliveries and we have garbage. Later on, if I get like a license plate manufacturing set up, we can have exports and actually raise income by making our prisoners into effectively slave labor.
Awesome.
It's not effectively.
They don't have anywhere else to go.
So can you build something that overlaps that building and it just does what it does?
Those walls will stay in place. So if I do this, it's going to use those walls for, you guys can't see where I'm pointing, for this part of the screen.
Yeah.
And then it'll sort of go from there.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's do a central hallway here. And then let's do, so I want that delivery section to stay where it is. This will probably be where everybody eats. Or, actually, no, better idea. So, in order, and the UI is going to be a little confusing at first because there's a ton of stuff you can make in this game.
You're almost grateful for the ones that are grayed out.
Yeah, like you want the game to not give you access to everything at first or you'd have no idea what to build. So we're going to need a reception, which assigns people to their cell. We're going to need a canteen for them to eat, a kitchen to cook the food. We might actually not do individual cells yet, but we're certainly going to do a holding cell so people actually have somewhere to sleep.
So when I was playing this game, I found that laying out the kitchen was one of the most challenging things because you had to give the kitchen workers access to the prisoners area, but not give the prisoners access to the escape through the kitchen.
Correct. That being said, there's a lot of different kinds of doors, and the kinds of doors you make actually have a lot of effect.
Like
a
the
jail
locked
door
staff doors
has a certain amount of strength and has to be unlocked by a guard. A solitary door is even stronger than a jail door, also has to be unlocked by a guard. A staff door has very low strength, but any staff can unlock it, but prisoners can't. And I've generally done staff doors from the kitchen to the canteen.
Yeah, makes sense.
You can actually have prisoners do work in the kitchen, which will decrease your labor costs and make them more happy, actually.
Oh.
Like, giving prisoners productive jobs is useful. You can actually build a classroom and then spend money to run classes to teach your prisoners life skills, which will actually get them out of there sooner. There's so much in this game. I would love it if somebody could read Taylor's thing and give me a thoughtful response while I get us set up with our basics.
Taylor says, the BBC did an undercover investigation on
think he sounds like that.
Contracted prison
Sorry, Taylor.
to a security firm called G4S that was very crafty and underhanded how they ran things. For example, if more than 2 people were involved in an incident, it's considered a riot. The company would get fined, so they would never report the incidents or file separate incidents. Wow. Yeah, no, that's
dark.
You create a system, people look to abuse it.
Every system has something wrong with it. We just have to take time to find it.
Taylor's like, unfortunately, I do sound like that.
You guys are awesome. All right, so let's say this area that I just built is going to be our reception where we figure out where everybody goes. And then next that, I'm actually going to want my my holding cell shouldn't be too far from there. So let's actually tell you what, I'm going to expand this hallway a little further.
Oh, I think you had to
yeah, I have to go. Sometimes you can overlap it and it'll actually just build new walls.
I think it's when the walls already exist you can overlap it, but when they don't yet, it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it gets a pass. India's balls, there's like a small amount of people working on this game, and I love them enough that I will forgive their UX foibles. So let's say this is going to be our reception area. I want a holding cell that's like reasonably sized, because it's going to actually wind up being like 20 or 30 people in there before all is said and done. Let's do 11 by 11 seems good enough. The holding cell is going to want to be next to the canteen where people eat. And if this building wasn't already here, this would probably be somewhere around that big. I might actually do the prison vertically instead. So now that I've got where I want my holding area, I'm going to do where I want my canteen. Let's do...
And then later on you'll create cells that have access to the canteen, like
so,
from the side or something, right?
Yep. The architect part of this game is very real. You are going to be figuring out the exact layout of your prison, and it is completely relevant to how your prisoners behave. One of the coolest things about this game. So we've got that there. Let's say the kitchen's going to go right here, sort of alongside it. And then this is going to probably just be mostly
yard
hallway. As soon as all this gets built, I'm going to lose all of this. It's going to just become a big outline of the shape of stuff. But I'm going to try really hard to remember. You can also go to the planning mode where you can put walls and pathways down on the planning side of things. So we'll just re-add those in planning so that they actually stay up. So we have our central hallway, we have a reception area, we have a holding cell, we're going to have a canteen. It's all well and good. I don't want this one wall in there, so I'm going to go to demolish walls and specifically ask it to remove those 3 and that one. And then we're going to go into rooms, and now I get to start deciding what's what. The way you build rooms in this game is not by constructing it, but by simply saying, my intent for this area is for it to serve as blank.
So you're placing down floors, basically, to represent the rooms, right?
So I'm going to say, I want my canteen to be this, although it's not actually built yet, so I can't mark it yet.
So should we just go fast forward and get the workers in there?
Precisely so. So we're going to go fast forward. A literal truck full of workers are going to show up. A truck full of stuff that they want is going to show up.
And one of the problems you have, too, is if your workers can't navigate your prison, they can't work on the prison.
Or if the prison's too dangerous for them to navigate it, especially if you have a riot and you're trying to like fix a wall because somebody just blew a hole in it, your workers will either die or not go there because they're afraid they're going to die.
Yeah, so it's great because cause the entire time that you're building this prison specifically to be secure and keep prisoners in, you're simultaneously worrying about how will workers get here to build this and to maintain it.
Right.
And
every aspect of this is considered in some way because it's simulating individual entities with goals and such. Tamisk, Jeffrey plays basically everything and then finds the person who knows the most about that game to come sit here. Basically the pattern.
Yeah, so I've got basically my the reason I started one of the reasons I started twitching regularly was because I had this massive Steam backlog of games and I was never playing them, and so I started doing this because this would motivate me to actually play these games. I've still got a massive backlog. I haven't made enough of a dent in it, partly because new awesome games keep coming out. Dang it! But When there's a game where I know that one of my colleagues knows the game way better than I do, yeah, I usually try to invite him to come in and play it for me, because
we can see that
we'll learn a lot more.
Some of these areas are starting to get finished, and so you're going to see this whole cascade effect go on as that room gains enough stuff to be there.
So now they'll build the interior walls.
I forgot to build a power plant. You have to power and water your prison and manually place the power lines and water pipes. And I think in theory the prisoners can actually escape through large water pipes, which is why you get to choose to build large or small.
Yeah.
And spoilers, don't give your prisoners easy access to the power supply. It's not
worked in Shawshank.
A good idea. So we're actually gonna.
Prisoners.
Oh, man. All right, so I'm gonna need a separate. I'm actually gonna use. Actually, you know what? Oh god, I'm gonna build through here. In the long run.
That doesn't seem very efficient.
The cost to put up foundations and walls is probably lower than it is in real life, so that the game is more fun. For now, let's do a little off-site building that's a bit far away. I'm gonna need. This is gonna be a combination power and water and storage. So we'll do that. We're gonna put a nice beefy solitary door on it so that a guard has to open it up and it's safe. We're gonna go to utilities, which is where that stuff comes from. And we're gonna say I need a power station.
Now, do you have a guard?
I have not hired any guards yet.
Okay, so are the workers going to abruptly lose their ability to maintain this
So
space?
you can manually click on a door and tell it to stay open.
Oh, that's right.
Which is really useful for like the construction phase of things.
When I forgot about that, but when I learned that changed everything for constructing my prison.
Yeah, it makes things a lot easier to do. So I'm just going to go a little bit quickly here because I want you guys to see more of the game. So I'm putting down some cables for where I want the power to go and how I want to route it through the prison and get it from this building to that building. You start off with one capacitor. You can build more capacitors, expand the capacity of your power plant. Don't worry about it, it's realistic enough. The water pipes have to come out of the water station. They can overlap with power lines. You generally want to have good access to water throughout your prison, and there's a max distance water will go through small pipes. You need to worry about.
So that's why you need the large pipes. You have to strategically plan where the large pipes are, because if they tunnel into them, it's like a tunnel out, right?
Correct. Or in this case, a tunnel directly into my storage area, which is why it has a solitary door. So we'll run this directly under the walls for now. The kitchen's going to need access to it, so actually I'm probably going to do around the edges of the kitchen, because kitchen sinks in prisons are high-volume efforts. We can also mark that room as storage, so that any extra space in here gets used to hold on to whatever we have lying around. Storage rooms have basically no requirements, except that they're indoors. Now to show Jeffrey what I was just talking about, I can hit door mode locked open. So now this will stay open for a while, which is fine, because I don't have any prisoners yet. So they're going to quickly start building all this stuff. They're going to start bringing pipes in from their delivery area that just got dropped off.
Cute.
I know, this is the most adorable little game.
All your little worker bees go, right? It's an adorable, terrible game.
No.
Terrible in the strictest sense, not like it's a terrible game.
Yeah.
A game about terrible things. So we'll run some power just through all the rooms in a really basic circuit for now. We'll get specific positions when we know what we need. Things are starting to come together now, so I'm going to place my interior walls with some doors. We put down the planning markers earlier, so I get to see.
Oh, those were only planning markers.
Right, that was.
I thought that was you actually saying that they were, hey, build this, guys.
The UI looks the same, which is demerit, but it's not actually a commitment. In fact, if you go to planning, it specifically says, plan out your prison without the fear of workers actually doing anything. Because this is the kind of game where if you accidentally break a wall down, all your prisoners will leave. And it's not good for you.
Leave isn't quite the right word.
Flee? Escape?
Escape. Yeah. I believe escape.
Run towards the light?
Leave is something that customers do.
That's fair. All right, so we'll do jail doors on either side of the reception area and into the holding cell. The holding cell into the kitchen is going to get a jail door. The jail door into the canteen is going to get a staff door, and the hallway into the canteen is also going to get a staff door. This will probably... Actually, I should make these into offices. The thing is, you don't actually have to have hallways in this game. You can just make a big maze of rooms where to get from point A to point B, you have to go through a kitchen and a storage room and a locker and a bathroom. And what happens there is your prisoners will just grab stuff. And when you do shakedowns,
on the way.
You'll find shivs and power tools and ammo and cigarettes because you didn't drive through hallways. But if you put metal detectors at every door, you'll find them anyway. Yeah! This is that game. In fact, since I know I need offices, I'm probably going to turn these into offices. I believe offices need to be 4x4 or 5x5. It's going to show me in a second. 4x4.
Taylor suggested it would be great that if there were actually a legal basis where if a prison removed a wall, but just people were actually allowed to leave.
Like that's your way of expressing to them the legality of their escape.
Yeah. There are so many things in the legal system where it is a lot like, oh, you can have an open office plan. That's great.
Kind of. I'm not, some rooms say they're required to be indoors, and that means I have to have walls around me. Some rooms don't. So your library and your common room can have an open plan, but your cells can't.
Oh, that makes
You
sense.
can't make the full-blown like Nordic prison where it's basically a hotel. So I wanted my canteen there. No, this is not the canteen.
Taylor's suggestion sounds almost like copyright law, where you know it's like, oh, well, you weren't vigorously defending your copyright, so anyone can take it now. No big deal.
A little bit like that.
It's like, well, you weren't being that careful with the prison, so no more sentences.
If you have any family cells, you have to build a nursery where they can take their kids to feed their kids, separate from the Gen Pop canteen.
This is the cutest prison ever.
I don't know if cute's the word I use.
I'm just imagining all these
It's
little,
a cutting and scathing critique
babies.
of a terrifying system.
Man,
we're not political.
If I can find a prison to keep my
you can
baby
build visitation, or you can choose to or not to build visitation, and then the family needs can be met more or less. You can also do a mailroom to meet the family need, and if you don't give people enough family, not unlike The Sims, rather than pee themselves and get trapped in a room and die, they will just start trying to escape because they haven't seen their family in long enough.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll do another staff door to get between these two offices. So now you're starting to see things come together. I've got my canteen, a kitchen, a couple offices, a holding cell. Note that there's no way to go from the offices right to the holding cell. The holding cell only goes to the canteen. We got the reception area, and this is just a hallway that slightly overlaps the garbage area. And this hallway is locked off by a large jail door. So we are almost ready.
And you've got 9 hours before the guys show up, so you still only about two-thirds of your time.
Right. Now to meet my...
But the guys are going to show up no matter what, right?
Because we're in sandbox mode, I can actually turn it off and wait a day.
Oh, really?
But I'm spending money all the time, to some degree.
But in non-sandbox, like basically there's this inexorable right,
the driving force
procession of them that you have to take in. Yeah.
The driving force in non-sandbox mode is that prisoners are just going to show up, and I hope you're ready all the time, forever.
Yeah.
And yes, you can put people in solitary, Drek. You can't so you can execute escapees, but not by choosing to. You can build a sniper tower, and snipers will automatically shoot
anyone
people that tries to escape if you build a sniper tower.
Wow.
So the choice is, do you want snipers or not? Or do you want libraries? It's the same money, just where do you want it to go?
Man.
So now we're going to start filling this stuff up with props and bits and objects.
Because it's got the little triangle on it saying this is not ready yet.
Right,
This
that
does not
means-
count as a reception room yet. Because
Correct. That means I don't pass the test. We're going to need a shower too. You can put showers in cells, but for the particular grant I'm taking, they want a separate room, which is a shower, which is a little wasteful, but not the worst thing in the world. Actually, before I do, I should say, what is the requirement for a shower? Nothing but a shower head, so I don't have any restrictions on the room size and shape. So we're basically going to build a little shower locker.
But if it's shower time and the guys can't get showered, that if it's too small, that's a problem, right?
We want to have enough room for them to shower, and generally speaking, density equals temperature. So the more sparse your prisoners are, the less overall riot chance and anger you have.
So if you're cramming all the guys into the shower together,
right. The
bad
more
things can
tightly
happen.
packed people are, actually it decreases their privacy score, and they care about privacy. And so
can you make shower stalls and make them feel better about it?
You could make a lot of little showers, which would probably help, or you could put showers directly into their cells.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
Now, granted, we haven't gotten to the point where I can edit the regime, but once I hire a warden, I can actually choose the schedule. God, there's so much control in this game.
They're asking, when you let a prisoner escape, what's the consequence for you?
It depends. If you're in sandbox mode and you have failure conditions turned off, you just lose a bunch of income. I believe you can actually get fired and you lose if your failure event's turned on. And we have failure events turned on, so let's be careful. This might also mean choosing to spend a lot of extra money on this guy here, the perimeter wall, which is a very expensive wall that has a lot more height to it and is harder to break through. We need to do regular shakedowns to see if anybody dug a tunnel. And we can also spend a lot of money trying to keep people happy enough that they don't leave. You could choose to only take in minimum security prisoners, which aren't as profitable, but have less likelihood of running away. Not zero, though. I've had minimum security prisoners totally tunnel out. And now I don't build cells on the edges of the prison anymore. Cells want to be inside of something else, so that they feel like it's going to be harder. So, for the reception, I need an office desk, which has a nice little CRT computer, because prisons never use new
I think
stuff.
reception didn't exist when I played this.
Yeah, that's a new one.
It went straight into holding cells.
Yep, this will actually, they'll go here and then to the holding cell, or to somewhere else if they need to. Finding objects is good but not great. You have to do a lot of, like, either eyeball an icon that you've memorized, or search for a thing that you need. Table. That's not
Do you have to put the chair next to the desk, or?
I don't think you technically do, but I'm going to because I like a little bit of buy-in in terms of the fiction that's happening.
Yeah, I do the same thing too. It's like I try to make the place look good, even if I don't have to.
Right, and I think you actually want a bench in here too, even though you're not required to, because sometimes you'll have a lot of prisoners in here. So let's do a couple tables, and then some benches. People can sit. The rules for what you can walk over are weird in this game. Most prisoners can actually walk over most things. It doesn't actually block pathing.
Oh, good.
I don't know exactly how the rules on that work, but I know that I've done this before and everything was fine. So.
Yeah. I like that a lot of the construction icons are off-center from what the final object is going to be.
That's actually where it's going to be.
Oh, that is?
Some objects have built-in offsets, and you can sometimes rotate them to make things look exactly the way you want.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So my holding cell's requirements are pretty low. It needs a bench, a toilet, and to be inside. We're going to be a little nicer than that.
You can give them beds and stuff in there if you want to,
give
right?
them beds and they will use the beds. You can even give them more than one toilet for an arbitrary amount of people.
Whoa.
I don't know if you can give them privacy within the toilets, but I can give them more toilets. So let's just say 4 toilets.
Yeah. You can give them toilets instead of beds.
I don't know that that's a substitution.
Oh, okay.
That's not quite how that works.
Yeah.
We'll give them some benches.
My kids can sleep anywhere, and so I'm kind of...
unique to small children, perhaps. Yeah. So let's do a bench here.
Yeah, one of my kids.
There are different constitutional protections for your children than prisoners.
Well, yeah, one of my children literally
sleep.
sleeps on a different thing every single night. Like, just there's no getting her to go into her actual bed. It's like it's a rocking chair followed by a love seat, followed by a couch, followed by another chair, followed by her bed, followed by the rocking chair again. Like, it's just all over the house.
And then just so that they don't completely hate each other, we'll put a little TV in here.
Like that, most of the floors actually are concrete. The tunnels usually start in the toilet. They actually start in a place. Yeah, they usually start in a place where there actually is a perforation in the foundation, and that's their beginning. So you'll see that eventually.
So I'm putting a radio and a TV in here, which is not necessary, but which will help contribute to happiness, and enough bunk beds to support 8 prisoners hanging out in the holding cell.
Cool.
We could go way farther than that, but we're not going to yet. So we've got all of that. I have to wait for the...
Holding cell is still... because he hasn't built it yet.
So those things have been placed. Once the workers get in there, it'll actually show up. Now I asked to build a concrete wall there, but I think I actually needed to build a foundation so that it counts as a building, because that was all sort of new. We'll do all of that instead. So then these guys are going to build a little bit more room, and I'm going to have to put more wiring in it, and then more water in it, because it's going to be the shower. We're going to do the large pipe, not through the holding cell, we'll do it through reception.
Yes.
And then
we'll
do...
That's the way you have to think.
A small pipe that will go probably all throughout this room. I'm just going to fill this with shower heads so it has a really high capacity. And then we're also going to have to run that through that row of toilets so that people can actually use them and they do stuff. Or we needed wiring in there. Actually, we need wires for the lights. Otherwise, lights won't work. So we have all of that now. We have the reception getting built. Let's put some stuff in these offices. All offices just require a filing cabinet, a chair, and a desk to count as an office. So we'll give these a little bit of parallelism. Some chairs in there, and then the filing cabinet should be on my screen. It does some auto-filtering based on stuff. I think you can actually increase the restedness of your office workers by giving them nice things in the offices.
A couch to sleep under in crunch time?
Kind of. The staff room actually requires a couch and like a TV.
I actually had a futon under my desk for a while at one of my jobs.
just the mattress, right? Not a whole.
It was actually a chair futon, so it turned into like a single size. So I just laid it down, slid it under the desk, and so I could take little private naps sometimes.
Yep. This is a cooker, which is an all-purpose makes food object. Don't worry about details. So you don't have to build like a bunch of different kinds of stuff.
Need a fridge too and some sinks.
I'm gonna build 2 of everything so that this thing can scale. At first, let's see, did I do 3x3? Yeah, so I can do 2 sinks up here. It is actually. And if this was my first time playing, I probably wouldn't do that because I'd be scared of wastefulness, but I played a lot of this game recently, so I feel like I got a handle on things. And then we'll do a couple of fridges on, let's say, this side. It's always hard to figure out which way is the back and which way the thing is facing.
Yeah,
there's no arrow. That green block that some of you might notice, I think means that's the back. And since the direction it's rotating is consistent, I believe that means this is the back of the fridge. We'll find out. So let's do 2 fridges, and then we'll hire some cooks when we get there. And the canteen is where they actually eat.
There's a bunch of tables and benches. Basically.
Yes, so at least one
a serving table.
Yes,
right?
so you'll notice like there is the worker entrance and then there's the prisoner entrance. I have sometimes put jail doors here, but that means that for your cooks to get through, they have to have a guard unlock it all the time, which means you have to staff a guard in the kitchen, which is not a terrible idea, but we might get there later. For now, let's do 1 serving table here, and then we'll do 1 more here so that it's pretty easy for these guys to sort of get in and move around. And then we'll do some tables in like the most tables I can possibly cram into the space because that's how it's going to work.
Taylor says he had a giant beanbag seat from Sumo. Do you mean Sumo, the game developer, or that somebody had under their desk?
No, that's a company that makes
them. Because I think there actually is an English game developer named Sumo.
There's also a Sumo Logic is like a middleware company, I think. does data stuff, but it's probably not relevant. All right, so plenty of benches, plenty of tables. This will have a lot of capacity.
Taylor at one point asked, "Are we still talking about prison architecture or Jeff's house?" It's basically the same thing. We run our home like a prison, which no, we don't.
Jeffrey's kidding. He's
I'm
super
kidding.
nice.
No, they said last night. Actually, I had to cut my evening Twitch stream short because my baby started crying, and they got to see me cuddling my sad sick baby.
This is all of the things for all of the rooms for our basic. Like, oh, well, the shower has to get finished, or somebody has to finish building the foundations for the room that will become the shower. Oh, and we need a yard. I haven't done a yard yet.
Okay. So we're running low on time, and so let's definitely get to the point where there are prisoners coming into this prison.
Gotcha. So we'll accelerate a little bit. I'll play it fast and loose. We'll do that, and then just for safety's sake, we'll do a jail door. Well, yeah, we'll do a jail door in the canteen towards what will become the yard. The yard just has to be outdoors. I'm going to build a perimeter wall around it so people don't escape. And then we'll go back to rooms, and then we will go towards... One of these says the word yard. I can't pick it out with my eyes.
That one.
That one, thank you. And then this will all be yard. We had the shower before. Shower should be towards the top, I thought.
We started slightly late, so I think we can end just slightly late too. Sure. So I think we'll still definitely have time to see Brian's fancy.
Oh yeah, we'll go totally nuts, and you guys can see my 200-something prisoner. It's not a happy place. I don't have it down for it. It's just not.
I don't think I ever got as high in prisoner numbers as that.
I didn't until the most recent patch. So that will be a shower when it's done. We're running at like 3x speed, and we have prisoners here in 3 hours in game, which looks like it'll be 3 actual minutes. So we're going to watch these workers try to very hurriedly finish assembling an entire prison before the prisoners get there. These things need direct wiring.
Will you need guards?
I will need guards. I'm also going to need actually that staff room you guys asked me to do. Let me shotgun that in off to the side somewhere. So this will be a staff room. We'll do objects.
We gotta keep our staff somewhere.
Staff door. We'll do rooms and then staff. Okay, request 4x4. I can put that there after they're done. I'm gonna have to hire some guards real quick. To do that, hiring in this game is just super instant. So I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because I need them for that requirement. Notice my income number went down. Your daily cash flow is basically prisoners v staff plus exports and grant stuff.
And okay,
eventually staff can get expensive.
And did you hire cooks? Oh, you don't need to hire them until the kitchen's done, right?
Right. Oh, I didn't actually zone my office correctly. The office space technically doesn't include the office bits. So now that's an office. So now I can hire a warden. Why did our power go out?
Max
oh, we overloaded the power already. Great. Let's do a capacitor or two. Prisoners are here. Oh, the prisoners are here already. Or they're on the truck in, and I have room for 0 of them because the power just turned off. Welcome to Prison Architect. There's no guards to open this door. Or the guards aren't opening this door for some reason. Let's try and quickly lock the main door open. Okay, we'll put that back to neutral for a second. Because I hired those guards, they will at least be able to handle the prisoners for now. This is actually probably going to be okay. It's just going to take a second to get there. Yes, the prisoners are in the holding cell where the power and water don't work. They're just sort of stuck with my mistakes. So like the cost of you screwing up
and the thing is
their lives.
Can you prioritize the capacitor? Is there a way to say, hey, work on this first, guys?
I don't think so. And I'm going to need a couple of... Oh, I can't place people where I can't see, which is interesting. But I'll put some cooks over there where the guards will eventually let them through. And then once we actually build those capacitors... Oh, I have to manually turn this back on. And then we should be okay. All right, cool. Once again, there is light. I have Fog of War on, so I can only see where I have staff.
Which is great, by the way. I love like everything going dark.
Like you really don't know what's going on in your own prison, which is a sentence that is very scary to anybody.
Are there like CCTV cameras you can set up?
You can. You have to research the technology for it, or rather, I think you have to like get a permit effectively.
That makes
now we've got our prisoners in here. We'll do that staff room super quick, and then we will switch over to my prison. This wants a wide sofa and a drink machine. That is the requirements for a staff room, is I can buy soda there and sit.
Drax suggests that we should check out something called Level 22 Gary's Misadventure. Is that a game?
Is that a Gary's mod thing, or is that its own thing? Yeah.
I don't spell
All right, so I think we actually have here like an atomically correct prison, in that it's got all the bits and pieces that allow it to function.
Ah.
So now
I thought you said anatomically correct.
Yeah, so almost.
Incident reports, 1 awaiting solitary confinement.
So somebody already screwed up, and I don't have a solitary cell yet. Right, so the way you would normally handle this if you don't have one is I'm actually going to build one, and ours is going to be outside because I'm a jerk. Solitary cells don't have any size requirements. I can put you into a tiny little hole with, I think, nothing. I don't know if you actually need to have a toilet technically. There's no requirements.
If you wanted to make the solitary cells the nicest cells in the prison, you could.
Can. Yes, mine will have toilets because I'm not a terrible monster, but I don't have to.
Yeah. So sometimes it demolishes a wall you did not intend for it to demolish.
Sometimes, yeah, because of the way. But now it'll be
like sometimes it.
Now it's fine.
Oh no, you still got to make that wall.
Oh, because they just did that, the whole shower lost its wall. Okay, no, so
sometimes it assumes you wanted to expand a given room when actually you wanted to add on.
Right.
And it's confusing.
Yep, so we'll do that, and we'll put an extra wall in here, and then we will, like I'm doing a lot at once, but this game allows you to sort of multitask in that way. And then we will make each of these into solitary that are only accessible from outside, and it's not a lot of fun to be in there. And that guy has just been assigned. That's actually the door.
It's an open door.
Sometimes the doors bug out where it's actually closed, but it's displaying in the wrong place. Okay. This is like an ancient bug. If you build a door before a wall, that happens. Okay. I can now choose to put some toilets in here to be not a giant a-hole. And then we'll do that, and then quickly give them some water. So now, I mean, we're in the shit. This is us going. I only have a holding cell, so technically I don't have any room for any of my prisoners. So let's not take in more yet. So we're probably gonna jump over to show you guys my super crazy 267 person, mostly max security at this point prison.
Yeah. But go ahead and save this though, just in case
this is like want to go back. A good starting point for just trying out making a prison in this.
I think you can actually like when my daughter actually played this for a while, and one thing I did was I set up like. You can just keep a save forever loaded again and again, and I I just set up a save for her that was a good start for a prison.
Yep.
So she could get going. By the way, my daughter, the meanest, nastiest prison warden.
Is your daughter playing Prison Architect?
She was for a while, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't installed it on her new machine.
Video games lead to interesting challenges in life, kids.
Yeah, no, I mean seriously, I already thought she was kind of
authoritarian.
Kind of authoritarian.
And then you let her express it through gameplay.
Yeah.
Shakedown underway.
Welcome to 3 or 4 weekends of Prison Architect.
Holy crap!
There's a lot happening here.
How do you even keep track of this?
You don't. There's a point where you actually stop being able to directly respond to individual problems.
You just assume you have to set up guards so they can do it, and
you build a system. You basically set your prison up so that you don't have to manually respond to stuff like we found a shank on this guy. There's enough guards that they will just get taken to solitary. And then sometimes you'll actually manually assign people to Supermax, which is this little isolated double-walled corridor over here.
Holy crap.
I have metal detectors all over the damn place. I have my workshop where we make beds to sell for money. You can see the danger level because I've hired a security expert. So this will give you a full breakdown of what everybody's thinking right now.
Holy crap.
So this game just continues to get more and more broad in terms of the information available to you in the simulation. It does a good job of starting off relatively simple, like still more complex than most games, and then just getting worse and worse and worse and worse in ways that I am enamored with.
Yeah, no, seriously, this game is Brian crack. Like, it's exactly what his brain wants.
That is literally true. I have a classroom where I try to teach people stuff. As my security rating went from more medium security to more max security, less and less people even tried taking the classes I was making available, and I had to build more and more like parole and visitation rooms. I've stopped getting family prisoners because I only take max security now because they're worth more, but I have to hire more and more guards to take care of them, so I'm caught in this death spiral of sorts. We just found a screwdriver over here. Somebody's starving for some reason. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I'm a terrible person. I've got different yards. Oh, you can do different security levels. So if we go to logistics, you can actually see not prison.
Look at the diagrams.
Look at
the diagrams that your creation can become.
Yeah. Oh, your chronatosis, you can hire guard dogs to sniff out drugs and find tunnels. Of my 152 guards, none are free. Because they're shaking down in a normal.
You have 152
I have 152 guards.
And they're all doing things.
They're all doing stuff. I need more guards, but I'm only making 287. You were making more profit than I was on a starter prison because my costs are so high. Because my prisoners are so scary. So what I was going to show you guys is that you can security rate entire areas of the prison. All the red stuff that you see is max security or higher. This particular black is staff only. This slightly lighter gray is death row only because I have death row prisoners in here. When you go to take in new prisoners, you get to see what they're all worth. A minimum security prisoner pays 300, 500 for medium security, which doubles to 1,000 for max security, and then double and a half for death row.
Wow.
So the challenge and payout go hand in hand.
But the scarier the prisoner, the more likely to do violent things to escape.
But the more you get paid, which is this natural, crazy escalation of both the amount of dudes with guns I have.
So what makes the difference between, like, when you set a security area, does that just determine where the prisoners get sent?
It determines the routes that they will pass through and the routes that guards will take them through.
Gotcha. So now by themselves, they'll try to go wherever they want, but the guards will insist that they...
It depends. If they're currently in I'm following orders mode, they'll pass responsibly. If they're in rebellious mode, they'll just bolt. So, yeah.
Drax says this is Excel the game.
This is slightly Excel the game. My yard for my largest yard has 2 pool tables, 8 prayer mats, a bunch of benches, and a whole array of weight benches.
Prayer mats?
You can build prayer mats.
It's a real thing.
And you can build it's a real prison thing.
Oh, yeah.
Religion is a huge issue in prisons.
Yep, we have this tiny little cubby over here is the chapel. There's an altar,
that did not exist when I was playing this.
And some prayer mats, so that different kinds of prisoners can choose their faith the way they want.
Do you get to?
And they have prayer scores.
Is there a setting for maximum prisoner hair length?
Not yet.
There will be
someday.
That's a thing.
So let's just pause and check this out for a second. Here's all the needs, or I can select the prisoner. So Brooklyn Brindley, who's 19 years old, has gone 3 days without incident. Her cell quality is a 3. Cell quality is a thing. The better the cells are, the more days without incident a prisoner has to go to be automatically reassigned to that cell. So your hotel rooms will be rarely populated. Your cubbies will be often populated if your prison is full of super violent people, and then vice versa if you made a giant hotel prison.
Oh, so they can actually graduate to better cells based on their
and they get
behavior.
Their cell quality changes are automatically done by your guards. Like you can manually assign them, but you don't want to have to at a certain scale because it's unsustainable.
Yeah, I know. How many prisoners do you actually have?
I have 238. I theoretically have the capacity for 288, but I have quality mismatches for 67 of them, which either means the prison cells are too nice or too bad. And I don't really... One of the game's current foibles is that it doesn't do a good job of letting you know what you should do about that. It doesn't tell you why they're wrong, just that wrong things are happening. So it's basically just a problem light that doesn't give you further diagnosis.
Drac wants to know if you can see their crimes.
You can. You can see so much. So here's what she was convicted for. Drunk disorderly behavior, for which she served the time. Assaulting an officer, for which she served the time. And you can see their plea for each crime within the game. There is so much data here. I love this game. Grievous bodily harm, for which she has not finished serving her sentence. She has, as family, a 44-year-old ex-husband and a 73-year-old mother. The more family you have, the more family need you get. And then the more happiness they get from
they'll
getting
come for
family.
visiting hours and
or get mail.
Yeah,
and you can assign prisoners to work in the mail rooms, and we get more mail here than I know what to do with. I had to build a new mail room because my delivery section was like, you can even see some of it today now.
Is it? Wait, is this like okay? You're seeing the are you seeing stuff they're discovering in the shakedown?
Oh, so this is the intelligence screen where the prisoners I have drafted as snitches are telling me where stuff comes. That's a thing. I can assign them to protective custody if they've been a snitch for too long and I'm worried about them getting shanked. And on the separate wing of the prison, flagged as protective custody where they wear yellow jumpsuits and don't get murdered as much.
What the crap?
Oh, and you can only assign someone to be a snitch if they're currently in solitary. You have to break them down mentally before they will snitch for you.
Holy crap. We're playing Prison Architect, and this game is insane.
It's Zoo Tycoon for human.
Just show him. Show him. Just start cycling through the data screens.
Didn't you play this not long ago, Jeffrey?
So I played it a while ago. It was not this crazy when I played. I played it during like early access back in the old building.
Right.
Right. They've been adding features the entire time. Why is nobody working in the mail? I must have just built this mailroom before I saved. So now I have 12 new jobs for prisoners to sort through enormous amounts of mail during work hours. So here's one of my favorite things. And I guess I have a lot of those in this game. You get to choose the exact hourly schedules for every security grade independently. You can give them 2 hours of sleep and 18 hours of work a day if you want to, and feed them one meal.
Sounds like games.
So that's basically what my daughter did.
Everyone's an indentured servant.
Yeah,
gets 2 hours of sleep.
She basically kept reducing their free time because they weren't being good enough.
Oh God. So it does monthly update your cash flow. So because not enough people did work on the beds, I guess, recently, or I had some prisoners graduate and leave the prison, I'm not making as much money. So now my costs have gone beyond my profit. So now I'm encouraged to take in new prisoners. Wow. And there's a button for fill capacity, which will just send you as many prisoners as you can technically hold, which, spoilers, is basically never a good idea. Because in theory, I have room for 50 more prisoners. But
Wait, what happened? Why did your guards say 0 of 152? What does that mean?
Because all of them are busy.
Oh, so you have
91 are
free to
stationed,
assign.
9 are resting, 26 are patrolling, and 26 are doing jobs. I have 24 armed guards and 16 dog handlers in here. So, if I were to take all the available prisoners, I would get $100,000 of down payment and take in 100 prisoners.
Like, simultaneously.
Which we will not do because everything will be on fire very quickly.
Oh, do it.
Yo, that's not realistic.
I can jam the holding cell with
Your
like
prison is
warm
under
bodies.
capacity? That's not realistic.
No, it's not. But capacity here means your holding cell is full.
So if you're getting new prisoners, is there a judge somewhere in this game that is like, you know, trumped up charges and just sending...
So, do you want to see some of the craziest, evilest, horriblest stuff in this game that I won't even do freely?
Legally.
A little bit. So the whole death row mechanic, the way death row works, a death row prisoner has a black jumpsuit. You can see their crimes. So this one woman, aggravated assault, guilty, rape, guilty, torture, guilty, murder, guilty, another murder, guilty, attempted murder, guilty, torture, guilty, murder, guilty. This woman is basically a war criminal.
She's been sentenced many times, so...
And she hasn't served most of them.
She hasn't served most of them. This is a failure in other people's prison.
You know what you can do when they have... So here's the crazy, crazy thing. Do you guys know what this phrase means? Likelihood of clemency?
The judge...
What are the actual statistical odds this person will be told they're better than getting murdered?
Yeah.
What are the odds they'll ever get out? There's a state-approved likelihood of clemency threshold, where if they are below it, you can just turn them into money. You can kill the person and get a check for it.
Holy crap.
In the execution chamber.
Oh, well, I'd be doing that every day.
And if you do it when they're above the threshold, this is a video game thing.
That's actually not how prisons work.
I was hoping it wouldn't, because that would be the grossest, weirdest, most terrible thing.
No. Prisons don't really get to just choose when they execute.
Yeah.
Not American prisons.
Well, this is an American prison.
The thing is, you get to see for every death row inmate what their current % chance of clemency is, and if that number turns green, they're below the threshold. And then you go through.
It turns green if you get to kill them?
And then you get there's a whole crazy experience where terrible, sad ambiance plays. You have to lock the whole prison down, let their family in, send them a priest and an attendant. You have to make sure they have a viable path to the thing. The camera focuses on them. You watch them go to there. You actually have to click a button to kill them.
Holy crap!
And then you hear, and the ambiance cuts out, and you're back to normal, and nothing else happens.
This sounds like...
Really? So they make it as anticlimactic as possible?
No, they make it as climactic as possible up until that moment.
Well, yeah,
And then there's the intentional quiet. It is climactic in that you go from an overabundance of terrifying simulation to nothing, because a person just left the world because you hit a button to do that.
Oh,
And then you see a little, plus $10,000.
Oh, like a bat's like, I'm in love with this game. This game's so messed up, it's amazing.
It is messed up and
This
amazing.
is like that dwarf... What's the dwarf?
Dwarf Fortress.
Dwarf Fortress.
This is Dwarf Fortress, except they're prisoners.
Yeah.
Oh, you can
This is Dwarf Prison.
Andy's gonna love this. If you hire a lawyer, there's a bureaucracy tab.
Yes.
You get to manage all of your hires. So I had to unlock a security officer who could then get me surveillance tech and dogs and remote access doors, which I haven't used yet because that's like this is the redstone equivalent in this game, where you can do some sort of build little machines that do
Why
stuff.
does someone say clone?
That's a building tool. That allows me to say, take the cell layout.
We don't know because
This
he
is
hasn't
not-
done the mad scientist.
We're not-
No,
Yeah,
I
we're
want
not 12
the
out of 10
sequel.
dystopia
I want
yet.
Orbital Prison Architect as their next thing.
Prison architect in space.
That movie was great.
Asteroid mining.
It was the Luc
Pearce?
Besson with Guy Pearce. Yes. What was it? Lockout.
Lockdown.
Lockdown. With
Lockout.
I think Lockout.
This is also
Dude,
every
I
rating
loved
movie.
Lockout. That was
It knew what it was, and it delivered.
just
Also,
absolutely
every Chronicles of Riddick movie is escaping a space
Yeah, just
prison.
crazy French action movie.
Right, so this is the part where I specifically disappoint Andy as much as possible. You hire a lawyer. It's a button you can do. Let's see what you can do with... God damn it, Taylor.
Taylor says
So,
we should clone
let's
death row
talk
inmates
about-
and execute them repeatedly.
What does a lawyer give you access to?
I've read a short story
Smaller
about
cells. The first thing your lawyer lets you do is unlimited smallness of cells. So there's not a minimum square footage requirement for human decency. You can research permanent punishments. So I can say, you there, you never get to leave your room again ever. Or you there, you're never gonna leave solitary ever again. You're never gonna have a bed for the rest of your life. You have to unlock the ability to take death row prisoners, and then you can unlock the ability to reduce their execution liability. Like your prisoner, and it even says, if we read this, I'm going to read this whole text because it matters, and Andy's going to just want to vomit. Your lawyer lobbies for a reduction in the required strength of the conviction before death row proceedings can be properly started. Essentially lowers the number of appeals a prisoner gets before you can schedule their execution without liability.
Yeah, again, that's not... Thankfully, that's not actually how the system works in this
Good.
I don't know. This sounds like this is just the management software from Arizona prisons.
Drac, I don't
You're
think
not
you
far
actually
off.
see a lot of suicides in this game. I don't know if they have a mechanic for that, which I'm almost happy with. I think that might be a line not to cross. You can do legal prep for in advance of when you screw up and somebody escapes or dies that wasn't supposed to.
So it reduces future liability or
You
whatever.
can basically
That-
build
that
up
makes sense.
clauses for stuff. So that one's maybe the least ridiculous
How
thing.
often
the
do
lawyer
your
does.
prisoners like
Try and escape?
try and escape?
Constantly tunneling.
If I have enough shakedowns and enough shotgun guard patrols and I assign the right people to Supermax, we can minimize it. But the
But yeah,
shakedowns
they're
will discover
basically-
incomplete tunnels that I have to manually
They're
remove.
always digging like from like a drain or a toilet or something. They'll be constantly trying to tunnel out, and you have to catch them, take away their tools and stuff. But the tunnels will be there, and workers have to come in and untunnel the tunnels.
Yeah, you have to actually fill them in.
Do you like? There's no way I would spot them tunneling from this screen. Do your people do that automatically, or do they say, "Hey, guess what?"
So when you do a shakedown, they search everything that could possibly have items in it, and you get to see all the stuff that they found. And if they find a tunnel, you'll actually see a little trowel icon that's super big show up on screen,
Okay.
and say, "We found a tunnel there," and you have to go in there
And
and,
then you
manually
see
remove
it drawn out on the map.
do you have to manually do a shakedown, or do they do that?
You have to manually do shakedowns. You can't schedule them, which I actually would like the ability to do so because at a certain level of security, you kind of have to regularly do shakedowns. Because I mean, look at this. This is
You have a free guard. 2 free guards. Oh my
I
gosh.
hired 5 more.
Do you pick just certain rooms, or when you
You
do
can.
a shakedown, it does everything?
The shakedown button does the whole prison, but you can also click on a prisoner. Like, so this guy is, I think,
He's
getting
the same.
carried somewhere because he just screwed up. So they're actually in, so they're being escorted to solitary because somebody found weapons on them. As a result, I can say search their cell block. And now that person's cell block will get searched. So I can say search their
So
character,
you can define
their
the
cell,
groups of cells as cell
or their
blocks
block.
and use that unit
Right.
to. search
Cell blocks
them,
are
yeah.
automatically determined by door placement.
Oh,
And
really?
it allows you to then...
Yep. Gotta find some contraband in there.
I mean, a shakedown is the whole prison, but yeah. So each of these are a cell block because I put doors in there, and then it does a bunch of smart video game math to figure out which area is different.
Which set of cells are connected to the same hallway?
Right, so these cells, because they're all completely locked off, are individual. Those are my Supermax. I don't want them to have a lot of overlap. This area, currently, I just built an empty space there so that it would be harder for them to tunnel. There's nothing really there yet. There's a perimeter wall here instead of a regular wall, so that people have a hard time getting through, and then Supermax gets an extra layer of concrete wall, just in case. So we've got the mail room, somebody getting carried through there. More prayer mats in the yards, people stay relatively happy. That symbol means a guard just got attacked. And 2 more showed up, so this guard is now injured.
Oh yeah.
So I can now say this prisoner who is currently unconscious. So this is a legendary prisoner. These happen sometimes. This person is. Let's just take a look at some of the stats here. This prisoner is a legend of the criminal underworld that has numerous skills and abilities that make them very dangerous. They are extremely strong, extremely tough, extremely volatile. They are stoic, so solitary won't affect them. They are
Stringer
fearless,
Bell
so
here?
armed guards won't affect them. And they are an unusually fast runner. So when
He
you
wasn't
find out.
volatile. He was pretty cool.
When you find out that somebody does all of these things,
Was legend.
you assign them
Yeah.
to Supermax.
Now this
And
is
you
what Kennard goes
probably assign them to solitary for 24 hours, except this person's stoic. So that basically won't do anything. So what I'm going to do is say, you're in Supermax, and I'm going to permanently lock you into your Supermax cell. And they're unconscious right now, so they won't respond to those
Put
things.
them into cooler.
Is that blood on the wall?
Yes.
Nice.
And so a janitor has to come by and clean up the blood. And people who see blood are made unhappy. And I should probably hire more janitors, but they're not very cost effective. There is so much simulation happening in this game.
So when this game was much simpler when I was playing
Jeffrey,
it 2 years ago.
I remember seeing it, and it was very simple.
And they kept going and going and going for like a year.
I'm gonna have to get this prison architect.
Prison Architect.
And it's
yeah.
not very expensive. And for what it's worth, if the guys behind this game, I think it's Introversion software.
Yeah,
is that it?
Introversion. Yeah.
Dudes,
Yes.
you have put so much into this, and I love the fidelity of the simulation and the amount of evocative moments you get
So,
as a
Brian,
natural result of all that. So good.
I'm pretty stupid when it comes to simulation stuff like this.
Sure.
Is it if I want to start small and stay small, do I get penalized horribly for it?
You don't.
I think the campaign will force you to grow because they'll keep throwing prisoners at you. But in sandbox mode, you can keep that under control.
Okay.
Yeah. So I could choose not to take any more prisoners in and just run, and eventually prisoners will get out of prison. And if they're on good behavior and they get early released, you get a stipend for it. So there's a way to play, which is keep everybody super happy, get lots of early releases, maintain a small population.
What's happening there?
Something happened here. So let's see what just happened.
Somebody's unconscious.
This
again.
fearless person recently caused destruction of property, attacked a prisoner, has a serious injury, and attacked staff. They're currently unconscious and they're about to get searched. That's what happened to that person.
Why don't we go back and load our other game to show Brant the starting position?
Yeah, we'll show you what this game looks like an hour in.
Yeah. Terrible decision simulator. Yes.
Perfect. So we'll make a save there, and then we'll load up the tiny baby version of this, where maybe we could have been decent human beings instead of turned into the sort of warlord. So this is like your day one. I have 8 prisoners. I have just enough facilities for them to be in there. I don't even have individual cells yet. I just have a holding cell in like a little separate power plant. And there's still a bunch of junk from the crappy cheap land I bought, where there's some earlier generated buildings and lakes and trees and such.
Yeah, so
Calvin's right. This is like 30 minutes in.
Yeah, if you play through the tutorial, find out how you flesh out a room, how you whatever, and then the opening the first grant that you get gives you a little tutorial mission that says build these things.
Oh yeah, grants are a huge thing in this game. You can get an advance for them, but you have to repay the advance if you can't fulfill it.
I see.
And so I can take on like administration center, inmate health et al. I mean, the other prison you're looking at had like 4 medical bays. This one doesn't have any. But I could get a grant to build my first one. So it does a good job of naturally leading you through new systems by saying, here's a grant to go try something new. Go build the minimum amount required for that to work, and then we'll give you some more money afterwards.
What if I want to build, or if I want to run my prison like Escape from New York? Can I just build a wall around like the wild land and let them run feral?
Yeah, I mean, I think that
you can actually go.
You can make the whole thing a holding cell or a whole thing a yard. And
so I can do a perimeter wall, which is twice as expensive as just a concrete or brick wall, or so 4 times as expensive.
Put a couple of holes in your wall here. Let's see something exciting.
Oh, you want to try and
send
incentivize
Godzilla
them?
through this place.
It's just going to be like really quick and interesting as they all leave and I run out of money. But we'll find out. So if I just choose to like demolish that holding cell wall and that brick wall, this should not take long at all for this whole thing to go to shit. But Brant, you can build sniper towers and hire snipers.
So these guys aren't super motivated.
While they're happy, they're not going to run.
Yeah.
Right? Over time, as things get gross and they don't get letters from their family, eventually they might choose to flee. Also, notice some of these are still gray outfits. That's a minimum security prisoner. If you have minimum security prisoners, they're less volatile, but they also earn you less per day from the government.
I love how quickly they run to the toilet.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
They move faster when they're going to the toilet than any other time.
They're actually not sprinting, mostly because I have guards that sometimes can see them. And you can later do guard patrols, and you can do guard assignments, but you have to unlock all of
We
that.
need to, salaries are too high. We need to do some cutbacks on guards. We need to fire 3 of our guards.
We can do that, actually. So if we want to not fix that, I can actually say, you're sacked, and this guy, you're sacked.
Yeah, sorry, boys.
They just pop out of existence.
Oh, they don't turn to a life of crime and become prisoners?
No, but you can actually get prisoners that used to be guards for prisons, and they are most likely to get murdered, and you're supposed to put them in protective custody. So if I sack
this is
all
early
5 of my guards, let's see how quickly we can actually encourage these prisoners to run away.
So we can't see them anymore because Fog of War is on.
Right, so now I have no eyes anywhere. In fact, let's just be wholly irresponsible and just remove all the walls between the holding cell.
Yeah, because this is so early.
Budget cuts.
Freedom.
Yeah, we're not.
Budget cuts. We need to sell this concrete back.
But it was also really poor quality concrete.
It wasn't done very well.
Yeah, but so, like it might take some time to get to the point where they're actually trying to flee.
I mean, as some part of the simulation.
Wait, is there somebody running?
Oh, all my workers are trapped in here because there's no guards left to open the door. So they're like, help us, we're trapped.
That's awesome.
So I can manually open the door to let them go finish removing all those walls.
That's
they will now
awesome.
just sort of loiter.
So I'm pretty sure that if you had done this in your Supermax prison, they all would have just bolted.
Oh, they would have immediately.
That's what we should be trying to do.
They would have immediately exploded, right?
So let's completely ruin this place. That will work because I'll get you. This prison is not going to have such a tame
Power
response.
cake, man.
Like,
Ready to explode.
Open up death row and let all of them out.
I'm gonna take my whole door. No, we're gonna take the whole Supermax division and just blow up all the walls to it.
Basically, make it Arkham
TNT.
Asylum.
Not even that. This is just gonna be like, let's see how quickly they tear their way through each other to get out. Let's cut the walls here, and yeah, let's cut. This is where some of death row is. I have them like isolated, and we'll do that, and we'll do that, and we'll just see how quickly this all goes terrible. In fact, I will even hire more workmen to get rid of the walls faster, because this is not a save I care about. Let's make this as bad as possible, as quickly as possible. So let's see how long it takes for this all to go to shit.
Uh-oh.
So 238. Let's see how quickly that number dips. Go ahead, turn off the shakedown. Don't even care. Why not? So a bunch of these cells got invalidated. So it actually, the game might be too smart. It might be automatically reassigning those prisoners to not be the cells that aren't complete.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'll actually have to bust.
I have to like
one of those
try
walls or something.
Got to remove some doors somewhere, some big heavy solitary.
Or like
doors.
let them out from the kitchen during lunchtime.
Actually, you know what? The easiest, I forgot the easiest way to do this is just start locking all of the heavy doors as permanently open, so that it doesn't really matter what's happening. As if to say, like somebody hit that magical video game button where all the locked doors in a prison open up, because that's a thing. So we're still at 238.
Somebody with the power drill.
Yeah, so all those prisoners got reassigned manually. So rather than break down the walls,
this game is too smart. Oh wait, what's the guy? Oh, he's just going to bed.
So here's a go. So here's a guy who was in solitary in Supermax. There's still a guard patroller. It would take me like 5 minutes just to fire all my guards.
Yeah, so you built too well.
Yeah. So let's. What is the craziest?
You're done 237.
Oh, somebody got out. Let's just fuck it. No, you guys, we don't need walls where we're going.
More workers.
Well, you're right. Let's hire a wave of workers I can't afford on my giant pile of horrible, filthy, murdery person cash, and I'll just let them literally ruin everything. 237, we're down 1. Go, my children, free all of them. Free all the people who we've abused and who we've allowed to fill our wallets with any money at all. So we're gonna.
This is essentially.
You have more.
How do you have more prisoners?
I just got a delivery. I should turn that off.
This is.
Now we're just breaking the system. Remove all the shit in all those rooms. Just take it out. People don't need stuff. We don't need stuff where we're going. More workers. More work. We had 1 escape today. It started.
Yay! Escapees!
Oh, that number's gonna get a lot higher.
Well, yeah, because your prison capacity just dropped
By hundreds.
precipitously.
I did just remove a lot of the cells.
That one escape guy is walking away going, what's going on?
God, I even had I have multiple different door gates. 2 escapes. This is now locked open. Oh, the real trick is, this was my main checkpoint, is these 2 door gates that actually allow you to go through 2 sides of the road in the prison. Locking these open should go really poorly, really fast. I had a couple of those at the end of the point where I saved this. So everybody can get out of all of those. No one needs to unlock the gate for those people. Let's see how many more escapes we can get. I need to remove the right walls so that I get chaos and not just escape. So let's take the interior. Just nope. You know? Everything. I don't need this prison to
Everything must
exist.
go.
Everything must go. We are going to tear this place down and try and get everyone.
I love how hard it is to actually break this.
It's trying really hard to simulate a prison that wants to work.
To go full fail.
So it's still it's hiring. Wait, I just lost $9,000 to a guard. I think he got killed. My guards are automatically getting more tasers and more body armor because I've unlocked standard issue anti-stabbing vests and tasers for every default guard. So even my unarmed guards can still tase people. But I have to teach them a class. Okay, I didn't even show you guys the scheduling the classes in your classroom tab. So while we let the whole prison destroy itself, let's see if I can even find it in here. Programs, that's what the tab is, programs. Here's all the programs I'm running.
Prison art. We're just demolishing a prison.
Here's the schedule
It's
for
late.
which
We need to
rooms
go.
it is.
But this is just
20 minutes over. Here's all of the different programs I'm running and all of the different schedules, and it tells you how much.
You planned a class. You planned a Did you have to write the syllabus?
You could choose foundational education or gen ed. One of them is I never went to school. So there we go. We're down to. We still have 270 prisoners. These guys do not want to run away. Look at this. They're just. They're running around this concrete
You have
floor.
almost as many guards as prisoners. It's it's hard for the prisoners, I think, to.
You can even watch them. They're all getting rerouted to the one remaining canteen.
These guards are take them anywhere. The walls are dissolving around. We have crazy workers just running in and demolishing things.
On that note, let's not ever save this game.
Okay.
Let's try and forget that this ever happened.
All right.
And
Well,
slowly unphase all of this.
so thank you for showing us this.
Yeah, this is,
I'll wrap stuff up. You deserve to get to go to lunch or something. But
Thanks for your patience. Oh, right, I should probably eat.
you should probably
today.
eat some
like
food.
my prisoners,
Yeah.
I guess I should probably eat.
Yeah. Oh, we're being loud.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Lisa.
Lisa.
Thank you all for watching. This was a blast. Please go buy this game. The developers are clearly trying really hard to make a good thing, and everyone who does that should get rewarded. So vote with your wallets, and thank you all for your time. I will see you all the next time we think of a game with too many moving parts.
Yes, exactly. I've got a whole stack of Brian games that I want to play. We got Banished on the list,
Excellent.
Big Pharma. So
Those
yeah,
are both good.
we're gonna have to
right.
do those later.
We'll see you guys for those. Take care.
I'll wrap stuff up here. So yeah, we ran a little long on that one. Usually I'm pretty like hard-nosed about making sure we're finished on time because I really don't want to be taking extra time. But that was worth, I think, staying late at work for another 15 minutes just to sort of justify spending that time. But yeah, so that was Prison Architect. Tomorrow, my plan is to play Sunset. So which is definitely a different kind of game, different kind of speed. So we'll check that out. And yeah, and I'm after looking at that, I wanna reinstall Prison Architect at home and play it again because it's been so long and there's so much to get into now. I mean, I'm almost intimidated by it, but it looks pretty amazing. So, whew. Anyway, yes, your guards can be killed. Yes, I mean all kinds of terrible things can happen in there. So. Yeah, Calvin's like, we just learned that those guards are super great. So, yeah. Anyway, I gotta get out of here. But.